I cannot believe I'm actually filming this video, but as I'm filming this today, the day I'm filming is the first day of the fourth quarter for us, which is wild because that fourth quarter flies by. And if you want to make sure you make the most of that fourth quarter or the end of the school year, then I'm going to give you some tips here in this video that talk all about that. And if you're an elementary music teacher, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any more upcoming music ideas, because I know you're kind of getting to that point where you don't really care anymore this year, but next year is coming. So make sure you hit the subscribe so that next year you have plenty of ideas to start the year off. Let's get into it. Okay, friends. So once spring break is over, we're on like the downhill tread. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you are bicycling up a hill and then you turn and go the other way and you just fly down. When I was a kid, there was this giant hill. Well, it probably wasn't that giant, but it felt really I lived in Iowa. It probably wasn't giant at all, but it felt really big, and it was so hard to bike up that hill. We used to bike up that hill to get to school when it wasn't snowing, and it was so hard when I was a kid. But on the way home, we would get to that top of the hill and you didn't even have to pedal. You just flew right on down it. That's how the fourth quarter goes. It's like quarter 1, 2, and 3, we're like pedaling and it's hard and it's hard. And then quarter 4 just flies by. It's wild. I had people today being like, oh, there's only so many days of school left. And I was like, how do you even know that? Oh my gosh. But the truth is, because it's so close, especially because fourth quarter typically includes testing and field day and field trips and like all of these extra things that make things crazy. So as we go into fourth quarter, let's talk about a couple things that you need to do to kind of like sail smoothly into the summer, instead of being like me the one time that I fell and skinned my one knee and then 2 days later fell and skinned the other knee, falling down said hill because I was not properly prepared for what we were doing. I still have scars, by the way, in case you're wondering. So let's talk. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 things I want to talk about today, and I'm going to try to make this video pretty quick because I know you're tired. So let's go. All right, number 1 is something that I did the other day that terrified me, and that is count how many rotations you have left. As music teachers, we typically don't see our students every day. If you do, congratulations. But if you don't, wow, it can fly by. I see my students once every 6 days. At my previous school, I saw my kids for a week at a time. That was crazy. Because if we had 5 classes, we would have 5 weeks of a rotation. So my last week of school lessons would be 5 weeks before school ended. But go through and just count how many rotations you have left. This might be hard to do because I know for us, we're doing testing the next 2 weeks. And then when we come back from spring break, we're doing more testing. And so there's just a lot of things that are going to interrupt the schedule coming up. And so it can be hard to kind of guess, but at least guesstimate how many more lessons you have, because then you can work backwards and figure out what you need to teach, which leads me to number 2. Once you've figured out how many rotations you have, make sure you teach those big concepts right now. I am introducing quarter and eighth to first grade. I'm introducing quarter rest to second grade. And my fourth and fifth graders are finishing up big projects because I was like, we have to finish these big concepts, because once we get into testing and field day and all those things, life is going to be crazy and we're not going to have the brain power for it. So you need to make sure you finish those big concepts now. First of all, because again, the schedule gets crazy. And secondly, because you want to make sure you have time to practice those things. So if we're learning quarter and eighth notes, we need weeks to practice quarter and eighth notes so that we know what those look like. And when I get to the beginning of second grade, we can already read them easily. It's no big deal. So as I'm looking at the concepts I need to, as I'm looking at the rotations I have left, I'm also looking at the concepts I need to finish and making sure we get to those things that are super important. That might mean we push some things off till next year. And there's some things that we're not getting to this year. And the beauty of being a music teacher is that you get to follow your students, which means that if we didn't get to it this year, we can get to it next year. And it's not the end of the world. It's more important that your kids understand the concepts fully than that they're rushed to try to squeeze things in their brains, because they're not going to remember it anyway. Okay. Number 3 is make sure you get some grades. I have this problem, I would say quarter 1, 2, and 4, that I will get to the end of the quarter and suddenly be like, oh, I have no grades for this class. This is especially terrifying if you, again, have the schedule changed, if you have a weird schedule, if you see your kids once or for a week at a time, so it takes 5 weeks to see the new group. You don't want to get to the end of the quarter and realize you have no grades. So get as many grades as you can early. I try, especially like the next couple weeks, I'm trying to get a grade in every single class so that way I'll have something at the end of the year, even if I don't see them all the time, even if I don't get the full rotations like I want to. But having something that I can put that we did is really helpful when it gets to grading time. And if you haven't heard my whole spiel about grading, I'll link a video down below all about grading and how you should approach grading and lots of different ways for making grading easy. So super easy example. This week, first grade learning quarter and eighth notes. Next week, you know what we're going to do? We're going to practice quarter and eighth notes, and I'm going to jot down the seating chart who's correctly reading quarter and eighth notes. Okay, it doesn't have to be hard. And same thing for second grade. I'm going to correctly, write down who's doing it correctly. Throw in a couple worksheets every once in a while so that you have a written grade that's like proof of like, hey, look, we did something. Those are nice too. But just have grades put in, and especially for quarter 4, put the grades in early because the end is useless. I mean, really, like, what are you going to do after they've been outside for field day all day? Right. Number 4 is plan some activities for testing. Testing is coming, and I don't know about y'all, but it really messes us up. At my old school, we used to... I'm laughing even thinking about it. That's what Nyla has to say about that. Have you met my dog? Say hi. Look up here. Where are you? Right there. Hello. At my old school, we used to have a testing schedule where we would test all morning, and then we would run around like crazy people to try to hit all of the classes we were supposed to have so that every teacher could get a 20-minute break. It was insanity and usually meant that I didn't get a 20-minute break, but no one ever seemed to care about that, even though I also had to test all morning. Well, whatever. So that was wild. At my new school, what we typically do is we'll see 3 classes for 45 minutes each. So it's still the full like length of time, but it's not necessarily the classes you were supposed to have. And it's just crazy. No matter what your schedule looks like, it's gonna be really difficult to teach because the kids are exhausted after testing all day. You're exhausted because you probably had to test them all day, and it's just not fun. So plan a couple of really easy things to do that are also quiet, so that way if they're testing in the room next door, then you're not making noise, messing up their tests. I know. Fun things to worry about. I think I have a video or maybe a blog post all about like quiet music lessons, so I will link that down below, but here's a couple really quick ones. Number 1, Write the Room is one of my all-time favorites. Also, I have a free one you could try out if you've never tried it before. You'll love it. It's a spring theme, so perfect for this time of year. But Write the Room is great. Basically what you do is you put like questions or flashcards around the room, and then the kids walk around the room with their recording sheets and they answer the questions. So I do this a couple different ways. I'll do it with rhythm and have them play the rhythm. I'll do it with rhythm and have them write down the rhythms, and then usually we play them afterwards. I'll have them do it with like solfege. I'll put the notes on the staff and they have to write down the solfa, or with treble clef, notes on the staff and they write down, B, A, G, whatever. Those kind of things. You could do questions, you could do instruments and have them write down the instruments, the orchestra. And this doubles because it's also going to give you that grade that you need, which is super, super helpful. I love Write the Room. We use it in every grade level all the time. And I will link that free one down below, as well as like, I'll also link like all the, I'll just, I think I have a whole category in my store that's like Write the Room. So I'll link that. That'll be easy. All right. So Write the Room. Number 2, rhythm play along videos. This one can be a little loud, so not super helpful if you need to be quiet, but especially if you're in the classrooms, these are great. YouTube, rhythm play along video for quarter note, rhythm play along video for half note. And the kids can read the rhythms and play them. They can clap them. They can play them on instruments. They can clap them. Then you can review them, then they can play them on instruments, and then it takes like 15 minutes. And again, you can walk around and you're playing right, you're playing right, you're playing right. Oop, that wasn't right. And check off and give students grades that way. Number 3 is my all-time favorite, and I'm so glad I read this because now I remember that I need to go do this, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, and that is color by note. I love color by note. It saves my life all the time. Like last week when the schedule got all messed up and I was like, this isn't the class I'm supposed to have. This isn't the amount of time I'm supposed to have. Here's some coloring sheets. Color all the quarter notes yellow. Okay, color by notes are lifesavers. I have rhythm ones, and I also have spring ones, so I will link those 2 down below. And they're great. Oh, sorry, I have rhythm and I have solfege, and have treble clef. So I'll link all the things down below, but they're really, really helpful, which leads me to number 5. When you have all of these things, go ahead and just print a bunch of activity sheets. We're talking color by note. We're talking word searches. We're talking crossword puzzles. This is not the time for deep, detailed lesson plans, especially not when it's after testing. But y'all, every year I print out a ton of these, and every year I use them all. It's so helpful because I know I'm going to be out for a couple field trips that I have, so I'm going to need sub plans. When we're done testing and we, did that, when the kids are exhausted because they just came out from field day for 4 hours, if you randomly, the admin's like, hey, you need to go to that person's classroom, and you're like, what am I supposed to do there? Color by note. Subs. Days when you personally are exhausted and the musical is tonight or the musical was last night and you just don't have the brain power to teach. Here, color all the coordinates yellow. Okay? Yeah, don't tell anyone I gave you that, because it doesn't sound like good teaching advice, but it's real teaching advice. Okay, sometimes you just need coloring sheets. It is what it is. Anyway, moving on from testing and all that kind of stuff. Number 6 is make a list for next year. At this time, this is when teachers go into the reflection stage and they start thinking, I want to do that differently next year. I want to do that differently next year. I want to do that differently next year. Write it all down so you don't forget. Have a notebook. I usually just have I usually have a new notebook every year. So I'll get a new notebook and I'll just open it to a blank sheet. And then every time I'm like, I want to do that, I just write it on the notebook. And then when I get to pre-planning, I pull out the notebook and I look through the list, and that way I have somewhere to start. But make a list of things you want to do, things you want to teach, lessons you didn't get to try that you want to try, things you want to add more of. Whatever it is, just go ahead and make those lists now, because you're thinking about it now, especially when you walk 10,000 steps around the room while the kids are doing their standardized testing and you can't even wear your Apple Watch, so it's like it doesn't even count. You got time to think. So while you're thinking those things, write them down. Not during standardized testing, because you can get in trouble for that, but afterwards, write them down. Okay? Now, number 7 is more about you, less about school, and that is enjoy your day. It is the worst feeling. And listen, been there, done that, no judgment. It is the worst feeling to be like, I can't wait till summer. Only 30 days till summer. If you've heard my spiel about not cutting down to the end of the year, it can make you feel very focused on getting to summer. And if there's still time between now and summer, you don't want to waste it. I see, not just teachers, people in other professions too, but I see teachers, because I am a teacher, it'll be Tuesday and they're like, I just can't wait till the weekend. Which, listen, sometimes it's rough, but if that's you every week, you're gonna be miserable. So if you're just sitting there like, I can't wait until summer comes, it's gonna be really hard to get there. So instead, don't count down to summer. I know. You're gonna come at me. It's fine. Don't count down to summer, because you don't want the focus to be the finish line. You want the focus to be the journey on the way there. And while you're not counting down to summer, find something fun to do every day, something you enjoy every day. So whether that is maybe add in a few minutes to read when you get home from school, whether that is, sometimes I make coffee during my 4th grade class. Okay, most days I make coffee during my 4th grade class, and my afternoon coffee is usually full of sugar, and it's glorious. And it's something I look forward to. It's my little treat in the afternoon, and I appreciate that. Whether it is, taking a walk because the weather is nice outside, like eating your lunch outside, like those are things that you can do to help you enjoy every day instead of being focused on the end. I don't want you to waste your life waiting around for summer or waiting around for the weekend. Enjoy your life. And I know it's hard. Listen, I know. I have been at burnout. I have been at schools where life is really, really hard. I one time got my contract that said, congratulations, we're renewing your contract. And I cried. Like, legit put my head on my desk and was bawling, because I was like, I don't know if I can do it another year. I did, by the way. I made it a couple more years. I have been bit at school. Okay, I understand. I get it. I get it. I've had times where it has just been so hard. And as someone who's had times that were so, so, so hard, and who has also had times where I've been able to make it through at the same school, same admin, same everything, just me mentally approaching things differently, I'm telling you, enjoy every day as much as you can, even if it sucks, because it's going to be better. I promise. I know it's hard. I get it. I know you're tired. I get it. But you're the only one who can fix that. Okay? So try to have something you enjoy every day. And then maybe once a week, have something extra fun that you do. Maybe on Thursdays, you pick up Starbucks. Or maybe on, Saturday mornings, you go hiking or like whatever. But add something extra fun that you can kind of look forward to that happens throughout. It's not something we're waiting till summer. Like something that's happening now that we can enjoy, so that you are adding those things that you're enjoying, so that you are just making your life a little bit more fun all throughout. Okay, so enjoy something every day, enjoy something every week. That's not too hard, right? Right. I feel like you can do that. I think you can. And while you're enjoying that, try your best to enjoy your kids. I know it's hard. I know they're bad. Like, I get it. But they're only little ones, and you get to be with them while they're this age. So even though they might be bad, even though they might get on your nerves, try to find things that you can enjoy. So add a game into class, add a, contest into your class, add something fun to make it fun. Sing along with them, play freeze dance. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy. Just do something that, like, play games with them, not just let them play games. Play the games with them, sing with them, dance with them, enjoy your time with them. All right, my bonus number 8 is specifically for my teachers who are going to a new school. So if you're going to a new school, start packing now. Listen, if you've been there for more than a year, you probably have a lot of stuff. So start packing now, because it takes a really, really, really long time. When I moved to a new school, it shocked me how long it took to pack up my stuff. I didn't realize I had so much stuff. And going through it, you like weed things out and you get rid of stuff and you got to decide like what you're going to do. It takes a long time. So go ahead and start getting some boxes. Go ahead and start packing a box a day or a box a week. But go ahead and start going through that process so that it's not a ton of work at the end of the year when you're also trying to do grades and you're also trying to do this and you're also trying to do that. But go ahead and start packing now. You'll thank me later. All right, friends, so that is my 7/8 tips for getting you to the end of the school year without completely losing your mind. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any additional suggestions for the group, leave them down below in the comments, because we would love to hear more ideas of how we're going to get that done. I'll see you in the next one if you hit that subscribe button. So subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.